Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going past all the flashy highlight reels, past the multi-million-dollar contracts. We're looking for that one fundamental core skill, the thing that separates the casual player stacking losses from the professional champions who are, consistently lifting trophies. We are doing a deep dive into the secret weapon of competitive gaming, expert team communication.
That's right. And this isn't really a discussion about, say, improving your aim. This is about improving your organizational communication. And our source material for this is pretty rigorous. It's the Team Communication Essentials course book. It was developed by Sporte Academy working with GOSU.
And this isn't just like some random advice from pros, right?
Not at all. It's a systematic methodology. It actually combines field-tested strategies from top teams in games like PUBG, Free Fire, Call of Duty. And it synthesizes that with actual academic research. We're talking about places like the Journal of Electronic Gaming and Esports.
Okay, so our mission for you today is clear. We are extracting the concrete protocols, the formulas, the strict language that turns four, talented individuals into a single cohesive unit. This is basically the manual for instant coordination.
And the core hypothesis we're really digging into, and the source material claims this is absolutely non-negotiable, is that communication is a learnable skill. That's not some raw talent you're just born with. And crucially, they argue that great aim, the best mechanical skill in the world, is made totally useless if your team can't talk to each other efficiently.
Oh, I think we've all been there. You have the perfect shot lined up, and then you realize the enemy flanked your entire team 30 seconds ago. Why? Because nobody called it out. So today, we're aiming to give you the tools to eliminate those failures immediately.
Right. Let's start by grounding ourselves in the stats, the evidence. Because without these hard facts, communication just kind of sounds like a nice to have, right? But the data from professional esports orgs is, it's overwhelming. It shows exactly why they pour so many resources into this one skill.
Okay, so give us the hard numbers. What makes this a priority and not just some afterthought?
The first number is just.
Yeah.
It's staggering. Professional esports teams dedicate anywhere from 30 to 50% of their total practice time, specifically to communication drills.
Wait, 50%? As in half their time?
Half their working week, yeah. Think about that. They're spending potentially half their time just perfecting how they speak to each other. And often, this is without even firing a single shot in the game.
Wow. If they're spending half their time just talking, it has to be the single biggest factor for success. But what do those drills actually look like? Are they just sitting in a room repeating phrases over and over?
Not at all. It's much more sophisticated. The course book details these simulated high-stress scenarios where communication is the only thing being tested. So they might run a scrim where the entire team is digitally blindfolded, forced to rely only on verbal cues, or they might have silent moments where only the in-game leader is allowed to talk. The goal is to just burn these protocols into their muscle memory.
So it becomes automatic, even when the pressure is at its max.
Exactly. And that investment has a measurable return. The outcome is, it's dramatic. Teams that use a superior standardized call-out system win about 15 to 20% more clutch situations.
15 to 20%. That might not sound like a huge number to some, but a clutch situation is. That's the moment of truth. The final 1v1, holding a critical position, the endgame circle collapse. That percentage isn't just more wins, it's turning losses into championships.
Precisely. And it all comes down to speed. Standardized communication protocols, meaning everyone uses the exact same jargon, the same format, the same cadence. It reduces the average reaction time to threats by nearly 40%.
40%. That is an enormous number. A pro gamer is already operating in milliseconds. If you cut their reaction time by 40%, you're fundamentally changing the math of every single fight.
You are. It's the difference between getting shot before you can even lift your rifle and being prepared, pre-aimed, and ready to fire before the enemy even knows you're there. Like the source material says, and it cuts through all the hype, all the ego. You can have the best aim in the world, but if your team doesn't communicate, you'll lose to coordinated squads every time.
Individual brilliance just can't make up for collective failure. That's the hard truth. Aim is the ticket to entry, but coordination is what wins the game.
Okay, let's break down the four specific mechanical benefits that good communication gives you on the battlefield.
The first one is just fundamental. It's spatial awareness. We call it 360-degree awareness. A single player's field of view, even on a huge widescreen monitor, it's maybe 90, 120 degrees tops. The rest of the world is invisible to you.
Right, so if I'm focused on the fight directly in front of me, I have absolutely no idea what's happening behind me, or to my far left or right. Exactly. But with 4 players, and each one is covering a sector front, flank, rear, and calling out what they see, your team's effective field of view expands to a full 360 degrees. It's like a shared radar system.
Which means enemies just can't sneak up on you. A flank, which is one of the most devastating tactics in these games, gets spotted and countered early. You're basically turning the enemy's stealth against them.
And that leads directly to the second benefit, faster reaction times. We mentioned that 40% reduction, but let's talk about what that really buys you, mechanically.
We're talking about those critical milliseconds that decide who lives and who dies. What are you spending that time on if you don't get a warning?
Well, without a warning, you have to first identify where the shots are coming from, then locate the enemy, then figure out the threat level, then maybe swap to the right weapon, then reposition. It's a whole cognitive process. An advanced warning lets you skip the first 2 steps entirely.
So a clean call out like, enemy at my 3, red building, lets me immediately pre-aim at that spot while I'm still in cover, instead of just wildly swinging my aim around trying to find where the shots came from.
Not just pre-aiming.
Yeah.
Utility. It means you have a smoke grenade or a flashbang already in your hand, ready to go. You're executing a plan instead of just reacting defensively. It's a total game changer.
Okay, moving to offense. The third benefit is where the real power comes in. Coordinated team pushes. The source says this is how you win fights cleanly.
Yeah, this is all about a concept called target saturation. If you, the listener, try to push a defended spot by yourself, it's a 1v1. The defender has 100% of their attention on you. Even if you're a better player, the odds are against you. They have the defensive advantage.
Okay, so if 2 of you push, the defender's focus is split. They have to track 2 different angles. It's harder, but still manageable.
But when a full squad, 4 players, pushes at the exact same time, and that's the key, simultaneously, the defender has to process 4 incoming threats at once. The human brain, according to the analysis, just can't track 4 separate aggressive targets firing at the same time. They can really only effectively engage like 25% of those threats.
So the coordinated push isn't just about more guns, it's a psychological weapon. It breaks the enemy's ability to think, to prioritize. It causes hesitation, and hesitation gets you killed.
Exactly. They waste precious time deciding who to shoot first, and by then it's already over. And that leads to the fourth benefit. This might be the most sophisticated and selfless skill of all, trading kills.
Right. Trading kills is so dependent on communication because it requires pure tactical discipline. Can you define that for us?
Sure. It's the immediate, non-negotiable elimination of the enemy who just knocked out one of your teammates. The goal is to maintain numerical parity. If a 4v4 suddenly becomes a 3v4 because your teammate goes down, you have to instantly turn it back into a 3v3 by taking out their killer.
And the window to do that is tiny. It's that moment the enemy's exposed, maybe they're reloading or just distracted by getting the kill.
That tiny window is everything. If the team fails to trade, you've permanently given up the numbers advantage. A 3v4. The source calls this the cascade of deaths, where the surviving 3 just get picked apart one by one because the odds are now stacked against them. Trading makes sure your teammate's death wasn't for nothing.
Okay, so we've established the why. Now for the how. You can't coordinate without a standardized language. This is where we get technical. Let's dive into Calat mastery, and we have to start with the absolute foundation, the universal directional framework, the clock system.
It's essential. It removes all ambiguity about direction.
Right.
It's just not negotiable in competitive play. The key principle is that the system is centered entirely on your character. 12 o'clock is always directly in front of you, no matter where you are on the map.
So it's like an internal compass that's always rotating with you. Why is that better than, say, using northeast, southwest?
Because cardinal directions force you to look at your mini-map to get your bearings.
Yeah.
And that takes your eyes off the fight. In the heat of the moment, if I say enemy northeast, you have to process the map, then translate that to what's on your screen. The clock system is instant. It's relative. If I see an enemy to my left, I just say 9. No map check needed.
So those reference points have to be completely automatic.
Absolutely. 12 is front, 3 is right, 6 is behind, 9 is left. If an enemy is a little bit to your front right, it's enemy at my 2, getting shot from behind left. Contact 7 o'clock. This gives you 12 points of precision instead of just 4.
Okay, and here's the crucial point. The thing that prevents total chaos, I know everyone listening has made this mistake. You have to specify whose clock you're talking about.
This is the rule that separates average teams from good ones. If player A is facing the enemy and player B is behind them facing the opposite way, player A's 3 o'clock, their right, is player B's 9 o'clock, their left.
So if player B just hears enemy at 3, and they don't know it's player A's 3, they might turn to their own right side, exposing their back to the real threat, and they're dead.
That rotational error is fatal. So the call out has to be explicit. Enemy at MY3 or contact on Ahmed 6. That one little word, the name or the pronoun, removes all ambiguity. Instant synchronization.
Okay, beyond direction, we have to talk about location callouts. We have to get people past saying, he's over there, or that building.
That kind of vagueness is just unacceptable. It forces follow-up questions, and that delay means the info is already old. Professional teams use specific, pre-agreed-upon landmarks.
And the source material really stresses keeping it simple here. Use things that stand out visually. They list common examples that work on almost any map. Red building, tall tower, blue car, tree line, compound, gate. The goal is just rapid identification.
And for map-specific games like PUBG or Free Fire, you have to agree on the names for the points of interest, the POIs. Pochinki, school, clock tower, factory. If your team goes into an unmarked area, the IGL has to give it a name right away, like green tents or broken wall. And everyone has to use that name for the rest of the fight.
Let's use that contrast again to really show the difference. The bad call out. He's shooting at me from that place near the gas station.
Useless. The precise, excellent call out is sniper, green roof, third floor window. Or instead of somewhere in that structure, you get the pinpoint factory, second story catwalk. It's declarative. You're giving actionable intel.
Which brings all these pieces together into the gold standard, the complete call out formula. The 3 pillars.
This is the structure that turns raw data into intelligence in a single burst of speech. It's designed for maximum efficiency, minimum airtime. And it has to be in this order: what plus where plus how many.
So, enemy, red building window, 2 of them. I get the target, the location, and the threat level all in one. The what tells me the danger, the where tells me where to look, and the how many tells me how serious it is.
Precisely. And here's the pro-level integration that is absolutely mandatory. Always combine that voice call out with a map ping. The ping gives that instant visual cue. Your brain knows where to look on screen before you've even finished hearing the sentence. Voice plus ping is instant team awareness.
Okay, let's dive even deeper into that first part of the formula, the what. We need to talk about the essential enemy status information. Just knowing they're at the red building isn't enough. I need to know their condition.
Right. So the first category is, again, enemy count. This needs to be constantly updated. Is it a solo, a duo, a full squad? Or worst case scenario, are you dealing with multiple squads? Because the plan for fighting one team versus 2 is completely different.
Okay, and the second category is where all that specific jargon comes in. Health status. We can't use vague terms like, he's hurt. We need the pro terms from the source.
This is critical for deciding when to be aggressive. In a game with armor, if you break their armor plates, that player is now cracked. This is a super high-value call-out. It signals they are extremely vulnerable.
And what about their actual health, their flesh?
If you land some good shots, but their armor holds, or they're just a little hurt, their flesh, it signals damage, but not that they're about to die. The highest value call, the one that should trigger immediate aggression from your whole team, is one shot. This means they are on their last sliver of health. One more bullet will do it. A one-shot call is basically a command to push.
And full HP means be careful. The precision here is key because hurt doesn't tell me if I need 2 bullets or 10. One shot tells me to abandon caution and go for it.
Absolutely. The third category is enemy actions. What are they doing right now? This tells you their intent and, more importantly, their vulnerability.
Are they pushing us? Are they rotating, meaning they're probably out in the open?
Yeah.
Or are they healing, which means they're stationary and distracted for a few seconds?
Exactly. That action context is gold. If you hear an enemy is healing, that is the universally accepted best time to push them. Their attention is split.
And fourth, enemy loadout. This is the info that dictates how you approach the fight.
Yeah, if the call is, he's got a sniper, AWM, the immediate response from the team should be, don't peek, or get smokes out. If the call is, shotgun inside the small room, the team knows not to just run through the door. If you hear low ammo, he's clicking. That's your green light to push hard right now.
So let's put it all together. The full, complex, perfect call-out. 2 enemies, red building, one's cracked and healing, other has AWM. In one sentence, you get count, location, health, action, and threat. That is incredibly dense, efficient communication.
Now that we've got the language down, we hit the next big problem. Information overload. When everyone is calling everything out, the comms channel can just become noise, debilitating noise. The solution the source advocates is a strict information priority system.
This sounds like air traffic control for a battle. We need a clear hierarchy of urgency to cut through the clutter. Let's break down the 4 tiers.
Okay, priority 1 is the absolute highest. Immediate threats. This is life or death info. It has to interrupt everything else. This is the fire alarm.
So you drop everything and listen. What falls into this P1 category?
Anything that means you could die in the next second. Grenade, sniper on me, enemy pusher. This info overrides everything, even the IGL's plan, because survival comes first. When a P1 call comes in, all other talking stops.
Okay, what's next? Priority 2.
Enemy positions. This is strategic intel, where the enemies are even if they aren't shooting at you yet. Squad of Pachinki moving south or movement north. This is for macro planning. But if a P1 call comes in, this waits.
Then we get more personal for the team's benefit. Priority 3, team status.
Right. This is info needed for micro decisions. You share this when it affects the team's ability to fight. I'm low HP, means don't count on me to hold this angle. Need ammo, means we can't get into a long fight. Reloading means you're vulnerable for a second and need cover.
And finally, the big picture stuff. Priority 4, zone in rotation.
This is endgame strategy. It's reserved for lulls in the action when you're completely safe. Zones closing in 3, or let's rotate east.
Yeah.
You absolutely do not interrupt an active gunfight to talk about the circle.
Which brings us to the golden rule that just sums it all up. Threats first, everything else later.
And that system leads right into the next principle, which is communication efficiency. Less is more. If the airtime is full, information gets lost. Every single syllable during a fight has to be essential combat information.
This takes serious discipline. You have to actively fight the urge to waste airtime. Save the loot discussions, the complaining, the jokes for after the fight is over. If you are in a fight, it is combat info only.
Look at the difference. Inefficient. I think I saw someone move over there, and they looked like they might have had a purple helmet, but I'm not totally sure where he went.
That's just 15 seconds of noise. The efficient version is enemy left, cracked. You replace all that speculation with a hard fact, or instead of, guys, there's a whole team in that building and they look pretty dangerous, you say, full squad, red building, holding roof, maximum information, minimum time.
And to make sure that airtime is always clean, we have to talk about maintaining clean comms. This starts with a technical fix.
The fix is universal for any serious player, push to talk or PTT. This gets rid of all the background noise, the heavy breathing, keyboard clicks, all of it. That noise can mask the crucial in-game audio cues your teammates need to hear, like footsteps.
Right, but here's the challenge, and it's a good one. PTT requires an extra step, pressing a button. Doesn't that tiny action slow down that critical priority 1 call?
That's the trade-off. The pros train with PTT until pressing that button is just a reflex, it's muscle memory. The tiny delay is worth it because the alternative, an open mic, guarantees noise and missed audio cues. A clean PTT call is always more impactful than a slightly faster, noisy open mic one. Clarity wins.
And then there's team etiquette. The big rule is 1 person, 1 topic. You have to wait for your teammate to finish their thought, especially the IGL, before you jump in. Interrupting just turns data into noise.
And the simple act of acknowledging info is huge. It closes the loop. You don't need a whole sentence, just a quick copy, got it, or on it. If I make a call and just hear silence, I have to assume no one heard me, and that leads to disaster.
And finally, the hardest rule of all, especially for players who've just been knocked out. Clear deaths quickly, then stay quiet.
This means you give that one last crucial piece of intel the second you get knocked. I'm down, he's 1 shot, pushing left, red roof, and then, importantly, you go silent.
That's right. Deadman commentary is one of the biggest killers of teams. Your frustration, your analysis of how you died, your backseat gaming. It only distracts the players who are still in the fight. They need clarity, not a broadcast from the afterlife.
We've built the language, the priorities, the etiquette. Now, let's put it all into action. Let's talk about the highest impact offensive tactic, coordinated pushes.
This is where communication becomes physical synchronization. It needs a rigid protocol, and it's always started by the in-game leader.
And that protocol uses that universal countdown language. It's simple, but it works.
The IGL sets the rhythm. We're pushing in 3.2.1 AGO. The countdown is a mental trigger. It lets every player check their angle, get their utility ready, and mentally commit to moving at the exact same moment.
At GO, everyone moves. But the talking doesn't stop. What's the next layer of comms?
Target assignment. As soon as you engage, you call your target. I'm on left guy. I got right. He's cracked. And the most important real-time feedback is calling your knock, 1 down. As soon as you say that, your teammates know they can switch their fire to another target.
And why is this so much better than just having one person say, I'm pushing, and going in alone?
Because staggered pushes are easy to defeat. The defender can focus 100% of their fire on the first guy in, kill him, and then reset before the next guy arrives. Synchronization creates that target saturation we talked about. It ensures the enemy can't process all the threats at once.
So you need those unified commands. The source lists clear ones, push now, together, or just as important, hold or reset if the timing gets messed up.
Next, let's revisit that advanced skill, the one that requires the most trust, trading kills.
Right. If coordination is the engine, trading is the safety net that stops everything from falling apart numerically.
Absolutely. The mechanics of it mean you have to stay close enough to your teammate that when they go down, you have a clear line of sight to their killer. We're talking maybe 10 or 15 meters.
So the support players have to be ready to exploit the enemy's momentary distraction right after they get that kill.
That's the window. And this all comes back to the call out from the knocked player. This is their final selfless act.
That player, now out of the fight, has the best view in the house. They can often see exactly where the killer is and what their health is.
And they have to deliver that info instantly and clearly. I'm down. He's 1 shot. Stay on him. Or trade me behind the blue barrel on my 3. That final piece of intel is what makes the trade possible and prevents that disastrous numerical disadvantage.
Okay, the third piece of coordination, rotations. Moving as a unit. This is often the most dangerous part of the game when you're out in the open.
A rotation has to be a disciplined, military-style movement, not just a casual walk. It needs active coverage sectors, all coordinated by the IGL.
So how does that work? Who covers what?
The team maintains visual contact. You have the point player at the front, checking the path. You have flanks on the sides, watching for ambushes. And you have a rear guard covering your 6, watching for teams trying to follow you.
And this needs constant, quiet communication while you move, like a stream of disciplined check-ins.
Exactly. Not noise, but crucial updates. Moving through the gate, crossing open, smoke ready, clear left. You're basically creating a moving bubble of safety with your voice.
Using standard calls like, let's rotate wide, moving to circle, hold fire, or fall back to the tree line.
Everything we've discussed, the priorities, the formulas, the pushes, it all depends on one core organizing principle, the importance of defined roles. If everyone tries to be the captain, the ship just sinks.
Defined roles make sure every job is covered without anyone having to micromanage. It gives you instant clarity on who makes the call when a split-second decision is needed.
And the source is very clear on this. Roles can be flexible. They can change based on the situation. But every player has to know what role they are playing right now.
So for you listening, before you decide where you fit, you have to assess yourself. Are you a leader or a follower? Patient or aggressive? Is your best skill your aim or your tactical brain? Let's dive into the 4 key roles.
First up, the cornerstone, the IGL, or in-game leader, the brain of the whole operation.
Their job is entirely macro-focused. They're reading the map, calling rotations, deciding when to fight, coordinating the pushes. They are the final authority on tactics.
And the skills they need aren't really about shooting. It's strategic thinking, map knowledge, and most importantly, emotional composure. The IGL has to keep the team calm when things go wrong. They are the firewall against panic.
Okay, next up, the highest risk, highest skill role, the entry fragger, the tip of the spear.
The entry fragger's job is simple and it's dangerous. Be the first one in, get the opening kill, and create space. They have to be aggressive, confident, and accept that they might die. The team understands that an entry fragger dying for value trading their life for a kill or 2 is an acceptable, even good outcome.
So their communication has to be instant. I'm in, followed immediately by 2 right, 1 cracked. They need incredible aim, reflexes, and resilience because they're probably going to be the first one down.
The third role is often underappreciated, but absolutely essential. Support. The helper.
The support player is all about selflessness and preparation. They're the utility belt for the squad.
Right. Their main job isn't getting kills, it's enabling kills. They're carrying the smokes, the flashes, they're providing suppressive fire. They're the one positioned to trade the entry fragger, and they prioritize revives over chasing a kill. Their comms are simple. Smoke out, or ready to trade.
And finally, the role that is almost pure communication and patience. The scout sniper. The eyes of the team.
Their job is intel. They find the enemy first, usually from a safe distance, and provide overwatch. They need incredible patience and precision aim, and their communication has to be silent but efficient.
Why is silence so important for the scout?
Because they're often isolated. A non-essential call could give away their position. They should only speak when the IGL asks for info or if they spot a priority 1 threat. And their comms need to be precise. Enemy squad, 400 meters, crossing bridge.
Okay, we've built the perfect communication model, but it all falls apart because of bad habits. The source outlines 6 critical mistakes that you have to eliminate, starting with the emotional ones.
Mistake number 1 is the team killer: rage and toxicity. Blaming, yelling, negativity after a mistake.
The problem here is deeper than just hurting someone's feelings, right? It actually hurts performance.
It does. When you blame someone, it triggers a defensive response. Their focus shifts from the game to defending themselves, and it destroys trust. If a player is afraid of being yelled at, they'll hesitate to make a risky but necessary call-out.
The fix requires discipline. You have to stay calm. Use neutral phrases like unlucky or okay, let's reset. The focus has to immediately be on the next play, not the last one.
Mistake number 2, the silent killer. Talking too much. Just non-stop chatter. Noise.
This is the player narrating everything they do. The problem is twofold. First, important calls get missed. Second, and this is crucial, all that chatter masks in-game audio cues. You can't hear footsteps over someone telling a joke.
The fix is simple. Strict adherence to the efficiency rule. If it's not essential combat info, stay quiet during a fight.
The opposite of that is mistake number 3, not talking enough, the silent player.
And the problem is obvious. Information dies with them. The team gets blindsided by an enemy that the silent player saw 10 seconds ago and just assumed someone else would call. The fix is a clear mandate from the IGL. If you see something, say something. Always.
Okay, now for precision and timing errors. Mistake number 4, vague callouts. The classic, over there.
This just forces questions. Where over there? Which one? By the time you get an answer, it's too late. The 40% reaction advantage is gone. The fix is strict adherence to the master formula. Location plus direction plus count. Be specific.
Mistake number 5, backseat gaming. Micromanaging your teammates while they're in a fight.
This is a huge one. It creates so much friction. It interferes with their decision-making. They're the one with the first-person view. And it just shows a lack of trust. The fix is simple. You share info, enemy cracked, on your right. But you let your teammate make the decision on how to handle it. Trust them.
And finally, mistake number 6, late callouts. Calling out an enemy after your teammate is already dead.
The window for action is gone. The call is useless now. In fact, it's harmful because it can distract the surviving players with information they can't act on. The fix is immediacy. Call it out the second you see or hear something, even if the call isn't perfect.
To bring all this together, the source has a great quick reference summary, a cheat sheet for you to use right away.
It boils down to memorizing those key pillars. Precision on direction of the clock system, plus saying, my. Clarity on enemy status cracked, one shot. Using those coordination calls, push now, trade him. And just mastering that complete call-out formula. What plus where plus how many.
And then living by those golden rules. Threats first. Keep it short and clear. Use ping plus voice. Stay calm. And no blame. Only solutions. You have to practice this until it's just instant. That's what turns skill into victory. This deep dive into the Sport Academy and GOSU material has shown one really powerful transformative truth. Good communication is the engine that turns 4 skilled individuals into a single, unified team, and that team is what allows them to conquer.
The process is so systematic. It flows from clear communication to action. It goes call out, then coordinate, then conquer. Clear information leads to team plays, which leads to wins. And what's really fascinating is that these principles work in any game, any environment.
These strict rules about urgency, clarity, jargon, defined roles, they apply anywhere you need immediate, clear information in a high-stress, collaborative setting. Think about, high-stakes surgery or an emergency response team. The rules are the same.
We saw the hard stats. Professional esports teams spend up to half their training time not on shooting, but on perfecting how they speak to each other, how they process information and filter out the noise.
So here's the provocative thought for you to take away, whether you're jumping into your next game or your next business meeting. If pro esports teams spend up to half their practice time perfecting communication protocols and clarifying who is the IGL and who is the support, what percentage of your real-world team meetings or projects is spent not on the task itself, but on perfecting the communication protocols and defining the roles that will guarantee that execution succeeds? Maybe the secret to winning that next big project isn't in the strategy deck. Maybe it's in making sure that when the pressure's on, everyone knows their role and exactly how to call out, enemy at my 3, one shot.